Wait. Yep. Wait. My life is the fuse of a live bomb. On the bridge where the tide can't flow, snap vivid like the Nikon. Been cold but the vibe warm. Keep it locked like the vice arm. They got her twisted like the coat arm. Heart something froze like the snowstorm. Her tote bag match her throat charm. She from the land of the sand where they flex so subtle when her drink mint muddle. Left home in her man in the game that he played for the sand of the shade. She parades you the square in her shades. She like why you do that. Niggas be deceptive. Yeah, I'm pretty restless. Long as the check is addressed to a residence. She self-heal therapy. She beat 10 on clearance but she shopping for clarity. Reap what she sold for the dividend. Know what time is the medicine. Copping the wristwatch. Cartier with the bezel on her credit. Demanding hers where it's due. I swear she's so sadistic, defensive, pessimistic, reclusive. She too lit, independent. She too quick to dismiss courtship. Concerned with malice. She pile up as the bout ends. She throws a talent. She clutch a half full chalice. Sip you from fountains. Check her rap. She seek maneuver mountains.
Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire. Get out. Because it matters.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your host, Ethan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful evening. This is season 11, episode 17 of the podcast. In this episode, we are talking about the MLB playoffs so far. But before we get into that, there's a few things I'd like to say up front. The rest of season 10 has been uploaded on Spotify via Anchor. I will have the rest. I will have all of season 1 uploaded hopefully by this weekend. That is the plan. The Maryland video preview for this weekend for college football, that'll be up tomorrow, crossing fingers. And then we have the Washington Commanders versus Green Bay and the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Browns. And we're also going to do around the NFL guarantees as well. But enough talk. With that being said, let me bring on a very special guest. He is the one and only I Want the Smoke, Nicholas Rosario, host of Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Nicholas Rosario Jr.
Hi, thank you, Nate, for that wonderful introduction. I love the high note.
What's going on, Nick? How you doing, buddy?
Oh, good. It's just kind of chilling on not doing too much, taking it day by day, my friend. Just, I'm here, buddy. And, Chi-Town. Supposed to be 70 this weekend, which is unusual for us. So
I know.
Might have to get out this weekend. Right. Might have to get out this weekend and see what's happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hit the town, as it were.
I hear you. I definitely hear you on that one. So, Nick, I got you in here because you've been paying attention to the playoffs for baseball, and it has been a very, very interesting playoffs for this year. I will say it's arguably been. I think this playoff series was better than last year's.
Okay, I can agree with that. I think
there are some Cinderella teams that I did not expect to get out the wild card, and did you not see this coming?
Well, okay. Let's separate this into two parts because basically for the American League, I did. It's Yankees Astros. I think most people would have said that would have been the matchup for that championship game.
Yep.
But I don't think outside of San Diego or Philadelphia, you would have found too many people laying money that San Diego would be playing Philadelphia in the championship series.
Yep.
So I did not see that coming. I'll be honest with you. That it's a great surprise. It's a pleasant surprise. But yeah, I mean, I think anytime you can take out powerhouses like Atlanta and Los Angeles, I mean, it's great. I mean, for me, I love an underdog, and to me, watching the Padres and Phillies play for a chance to go to the series this year, that's a great baseball story. Because I don't think many people gave them a chance for their team to really make the World Series. So
Yeah,
the fact that one of them is going to go actually makes me very happy. So we'll see how that goes.
I agree with
Should
that.
be a good series the other way.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't see this coming. I feel like Philadelphia. I think they did struggle a little bit there. They were,
Yeah.
Again, they're in a tough NL East
Yeah,
with
for sure.
Atlanta, the Mets, and
Yeah.
they snuck in there and surprised. I was very surprised with the Cardinals not getting out the wild card because I just felt like they had all the momentum was going in their direction. And on
Yeah.
paper, they had a better offense.
That's why they play the games, Nate. That's why they play the games. Paper means nothing, my friend.
Nothing.
I mean, think about it. The Mets and Braves won 100 games, and neither one is playing in the series. So
Thankfully.
take that. I'm just saying. That's why we play the games, my friend. Paper means nothing.
Yes,
Nothing.
I agree. And we're going to get a little bit into that, but we're going to start with the wild card. The Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Devil Rays, right. That's still Devil Rays to me, but yeah, I'm with you.
And the Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland won the wild card 2-0.
Yeah.
Didn't really. I wasn't expecting much from Tampa. I think that what they need to do, and this is kind of going a little into our exit off season plan for them, for the Rays. They just need to. I think they need to really be a little bit more of a balance, a little bit.
Okay.
I think this year they had injuries. I know they really need some guys, and Brandon Lowe was probably the guy they missed the most because he went from last year. I think from the year he had last year, I think he just played 65 games, and then Mike Zunino,
was it that?
He really struggled. So, and also too, they didn't have Austin Meadows, who's in Detroit, and
Yeah.
They're going to fix some things.
Well, I think when you have a situation like that, where think about the last 4 or 5 years, Tampa's been in the race. They've made the playoffs a few years, so you start to figure one or two things is happening. The group that you have is not the group that you may need going forward,
right?
Or you keep or it's as with a lot of teams, you have 2 or 3 pieces that are great. So now you have to figure out if you want to build around that 2 or 3 pieces. Do you want to blow it up and start over? And I know these are basic questions, but these are, you face this every year. And again, like I said, Tampa Bay, if I were them, I would definitely not blow it up. I mean, you're a contending team and you have been for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
And you play in one of the toughest divisions right now. I mean, the American League East is pretty tough. And again, with your Orioles starting to get a little bit better, and you always have the Yankees and the Blue Jays are on the come up, you got to stay competitive. So if I were the Rays, I would definitely not blow anything up, but I would definitely look and see where you could, strengthen the rotation a little bit, the back end of the bullpen, and just continue to look for guys who can play every day and be productive for you. I mean, that's, again, it used to be the pitching and defense, then offense became the big thing.
Yep.
So it's like, for me, I'm an old school guy. I love pitching and defense. I mean, I love the long ball, but I'm a pitching and defense guy. And so, now that we're in the offensive era of baseball, as it were, you got to figure that out. So, I mean, I think Tampa Bay will be back. I don't think they're done yet.
I agree.
But again, as you said, the way they went out, you kind of went, kind of what we expected, I suppose.
I'm looking at their list of free agents, and the ones that stand out the most is David Peralta, Mike Zunino, and Kevin Kiermaier. They're free agents.
Oh, really? Okay.
G-Man Choi was also on the list, and I doubt it if they'll raise. Randy Arozarena, who kind of came out of nowhere.
Rookie of the year last year.
Yes, I don't really. I could see he could be a trade bait for a team. Somebody will give San Diego some prospects for him.
Probably. I mean, yeah. I mean, you could probably get something for him, sure.
Yep.
But yeah, it's it'll be an interesting offseason for Tampa Bay, as it were. With reading just the list you had there, definitely some decisions to make and figure out what you want to do there.
Exactly.
Like I said, got to stay competitive, baby. Got to stay competitive.
Very true. Let's go to the next team. The Toronto Blue Jays got swept by those Seattle Mariners. As a AL East rival, they really went through a lot this season.
Yeah.
They fired Charlie Monteo, and they gave John Snyder the head coaching position, but he's only going to be interim.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
interesting.
Sure they'll try to find him.
I think he had the same wins as Montero did in fewer games. Yeah, I think he did. He had more wins.
Wow. Okay. And that still won't win him the job. So,
but what I've understood is that the locker room wants him because he had vote of confidence. He was very aggressive in terms of change of pace, and I mean, John Snyder does. I mean, he does have experience. I mean, at one point he was, former catcher. Played for the for the Nationals, if I remember correctly. So he definitely has experience. So no, I'm sorry. No, I know he played in not the Nationals. I know he was in a AAA season. I know he went to Delaware. I forgot where he was drafted. He was drafted by the Tigers.
I'm not sure. To be honest, right?
But he didn't sign. And then the next year, he got signed by the Blue Jays because he didn't want to play for the Tigers. So
well, who does?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
So that's one thing. I think they've got some decisions to make. From what I've heard, I saw it on Twitter. Ross Stripling. Supposedly he's going into free agency, so I'm pretty sure someone's going to pay him.
Sure.
And then your core pieces, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. It's going to be those are going to be the keys. You definitely got to extend them. And then if you are like you said with the Rays, you got free agents to think about. So
again, it's a tough thing when you're in that division. The NL East, like I said, the Yankees are always there. In years past, the Red Sox were always there. And now it's switched a little bit. The Yankees are still there, but Boston has fallen off. Toronto's young. Baltimore's young. You know what I'm saying? And you still – and the Rays, like I said, have been in the playoffs the last 4 or 5 years. So you got to stay competitive. You got to – I don't know. My biggest thing with baseball these days is because free agency is so all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And guys just – there isn't a lot of alliance to any team these days. I mean, you're looking for the biggest, best deal. You play 2-3 years in a place, and if things aren't going your way, you're looking to get out. You know what I mean? There's no loyalty. So when you're trying to build teams like this, you got to find a way to keep the guys that truly are producing for you. And that's not the easiest thing to do. Ask the Cubs what they went through when they, with that, core of 5 or 6 guys they had after winning in 2016, and now they're all gone except for Contreras, and he's probably gone after this year. Yep. Who knows? But I'm just saying that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Like, you're not going to have everybody forever. That's true. If you want to stay competitive and keep that window open, you really have to look deep and go, hey, we need to build around these guys, or we need to do this, or we need to blow this thing up and start over. But whatever you do, man, unfortunately, because of the way baseball is and the way owners are and the way fans are, everybody wants to win now. Like, that's the attitude. It's like, we got to win now. And you know what? Let me tell you something. There's only one team that wins a championship every year. So the other, 30, 29 teams or whatever, you're going to be disappointed. And so you got to, but you have to play. You have to stay competitive. You got to be in it. It's just, that's just the way it is. Like, real quick, Seattle, who was in this series too, and I'm sure we'll talk about what happened to them in the next series.
Yep.
But another kind of team with young guys with some good pitching, a great bullpen. And we saw that on display. I mean, unfortunately, they ran into Houston. But again, if they possibly win that first game, the series could have been different. I mean, The poor guy, they take out Sewald, bring in, I forgot the guy's name, but he serves up a 3-run homer, and that's the game. Then they play an 18-inning marathon and lose 1-0.
1-0. Yeah,
So, I mean,
hurt.
that series could have totally gone another way had Seattle been able to win that first game. But as it is now, you go back to the drawing board. Okay, what can we do to be better? And the thing is, Seattle, I think, is in a really good position because all these guys are pretty much coming back.
Yep.
So Seattle, I think, will be in there. I think they'll be in the fight next year in the West, and you might actually see a little bit better performance in the playoffs next year. We'll see.
Yep.
I think Seattle's in the right direction, and I'm really hoping to see good things from them next year.
I agree. I definitely agree with Seattle. And really quick point of order. Shout out the Spot Track, which is a great source to look up salary cap and contracts. The Toronto Blue Jays will actually be over $200 million in salary. So,
woohoo! So guess what they're going to be doing? Looking to dump some of that. So yeah, there you go.
That's going to
see what happens there, then, my friend. Yeah, that's going to be one. That's going to be one to pay attention to for sure.
Yep.
No doubt.
Let's move on to this next one. The St. Louis Cardinals were swept by the Philadelphia Phillies.
Oh my God.
You're killing me, Nate. You're killing me. That's funny, though.
I'm going to give you the floor on this one.
Well, okay, look, let's look at it this way. People were thinking that Philadelphia wasn't going to do anything, given the way the season kind of ended. They're played in a division again. You're in the NL East. You had two teams that won 100 games. You had the Braves and the Mets, right? So you're thinking, the Phillies aren't going to do much. They barely squeaked in, yada, yada, yada. But, my friend, here's the thing. Again, we used to, pitching and defense used to be the thing. Philadelphia has been tearing the cover off the ball in these playoffs. Yes. The offense has been on fire. And in this day and age of baseball, he's got to be. But did you see that 450-foot home run he hit yesterday or whatever it was? Man, good Lord. Like that thing, as my guy Crash Davis said in Bull Durham, anything that fast that I have a damn stewardess on it, don't you think? That is correct, my friend, because that ball got out of there in a hurry. That was a rocket shot. 450 feet in the second deck. Thank you very much. Come back tomorrow. We'll do it again. So, I mean, yeah, it's like you got to love. But see, and that's why I said you got to love Kyle Schwarber because regardless of what you think of Kyle, maybe he's not the most athletic guy in the outfield, whatever. The guy can flat out hit. Right. The guy can flat out hit. Exactly. And guess what? He's in the American League. He can DH. He can spot outfield, whatever. The guy can just hit. He had, 40 home runs this year?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, National League now with the Phillies. But I'm saying, are you kidding me? The guy gets 40 home runs in the National League where he doesn't play every day because he's not, he's not the best outfielder in the world, but the guy can flat out hit, my friends.
He hit 46.
He may only hit 46. Okay. Yes. He may only hit 230 or 240, but those jacks are coming. And right now they're paying dividends for the Phillies in this playoff. So can't argue with that, my friend. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, my God, I wish I had a guy like him on the Orioles. I mean, the man is just. I think he is the difference maker alongside Bryce Harper. I've also can't forget about Reese Hopkins as well.
You know what's great about Harper, real quick, is that he was injured.
Yes.
So they didn't have him they didn't have him the whole season, but boy is he back, and at the right time, my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like. Sometimes it's just things. This is the thing about baseball too. Sometimes things just come together at the right time, Nate.
The right time.
And the offense is just gelled right as these playoffs started. The offense was just on fire, and that's carried them through. I mean, the pitching has been okay, but it's been the offense that's carried. I mean, they're scoring. I think they averaged 5 or 6 runs per game during that. So I mean, for baseball in October, not bad, my friend, and that's going to lead to victories. And look where they are, playing for a chance to get to the World Series. So. Go Philadelphia. Yep. What can you say?
Really quick, on the other side of St. Louis, this was their 4th straight postseason appearance, but I believe they've failed to get to the division the last 3 years.
Yes, they have. That is correct.
They've got some decisions to make. Looking at, again, really quick spot track, Jordan Montgomery, Jack Flaherty, Tyler O'Neill, Tommy Edelman, Alex Reyes, Dakota Hudson, Ryan Hosley, Jordan Hicks, Genesis Cabrera, Andrew Kishner. These are guys
That's
that are going to be
more than half your starting lineup.
These are they're eligible for
right
arbitration.
But I'm
and
saying
then you've got Yaldier's that we're going to retire. Albert's retiring. We don't know about Rhino yet. And then Jose Quintanilla is a free agent, and Corey Dickerson, McFarland, and someone named Aaron Brooks. Not the football player. This is Aaron Brooks.
No, not the football player, Aaron Brooks, but yes. Yeah, St. Louis, man. I'm telling you. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Nate.
They also too they do bring back Nolan Arenado, Goldschmidt, Steven Metz, Miles Mikolas, Paul Dejean, and Giovanni Gregorius and Drew Verhagen. They're all guaranteed through next year. Go ahead.
Right, sure. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you still have some guys there, but again, big losses, as you said. You're losing 40 years worth of experience in Molina and Pujols. So hopefully some locker room leaders step up. And again, you're going to miss that leadership, but you're going to miss the way these guys performed every day. I mean, Pujols not so much at the end, but Yadier was a staple as your catcher back there. And that's hard to replace, my friend. That guy is probably one of – I mean, to me, I'm watching him over the last 20 years. Literally, I'm like, that guy's awesome. He's one of the best catchers I've seen in the last 20 years, just for everything. With his defense, you got to love Yadi. He's a great guy. Everybody's teammates love him. Yeah. And I just think that's a huge loss. And you can't, I think to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but you tell me, Nate, I think at times catcher's a very underappreciated position.
Yes, very.
I mean, and people don't really take, catchers like, he's just a catcher, blah, blah. No. That catchers do a lot more, I think, than people really think about in baseball terms. You're calling an entire game of pitches. I mean, that means you have to have scouting reports on every hitter that comes up.
Yep.
And you've got to be able to know every hitter, what their strengths, weaknesses are, what you can throw, how you can get around them, how to pitch around them, that sort of thing. And you're the captain back there. Like, you're seeing everything. You can see you're one of the only positions where you can see everything in front of you. Yep. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, everything, sometimes, infielders, your backs are to the outfield. The catcher sees everything.
Yep.
And to me, that's a very important thing because they set up defenses. They tell guys to move. They can see what,
Yep.
So to me, I've always thought catcher was a very underappreciated position. And a guy like Yadi, who's done it for 20 years at such a high level, that's not easy to replace. It's just
isn't.
Not.
It's not.
And so, again, the Cardinals have a little work to do too. I mean, you're in a Central Division.
Yep.
Where Milwaukee always seems like they're just right there. And then you think they're going to make that move, and then they don't. And that's what happens to the Brewers every year. The Cubs are in rebuild mode. We know that. When we saw some good things from the Cubbies this year, they started to play hard. They started to win a little bit at the end there. It actually looked, decent for what they had. Yeah, so, I mean, Pittsburgh, you never know what the hell they're going to do. They're pretty much in the basement. And the Reds, I don't know. The Reds just totally imploded. I'm not even sure what that was. Because I know a lot of people anticipated them to be. They were supposed to be a lot better this year, and some people actually had them up the top of the division, and the bottom just fell out of that in Cincinnati. So
I don't know what happened.
I mean, the Cardinals are still one of the teams you go, they're right at the top still. So we'll see what they do to overcome some of that stuff. And I've always having worked at Wrigley Field, I see the Cardinals a lot, like coming to town and all that. So I have over the last, I started the ballpark in '99. So over the last 22 years, whatever it is, I've seen a lot of St. Louis. So yeah, you can never count the Cardinals out. But again, you got some glaring holes to fill, and you got to figure out what you're going to do with all your free agents and that sort of thing. So again, another interesting offseason for St. Louis to see what they come up with and see what the roster looks like on opening day.
Yeah, I agree. And also, too, I definitely wanted to point out, you brought up who could it's going to be tough to replace him. I hate to do this to you, but there's a guy you see at Wrigley Field, Wilson Contreras.
I mean, here's the thing. I like Wilson personally. He's another guy. His teammates love him. He's a great guy, that sort of thing. He can, he's a good defensive catcher back there. He does call a pretty good game. I mean, I've again seen Wilson over the last, 7-8 years, whatever it was there at Wrigley. So you get an opportunity to see what Wilson has done. And I think the Cardinals would be lucky to get him, to be honest with you. If in fact the Cubs are just going to let him walk, if I were the Cardinals, I'd go snatch him up. You know what I mean? Like, he's an experienced catcher. I mean, he's probably not going to hit, but 250, 260 maybe.
Give you some production.
Right. But you're going to get some production out of him, 250, 260, maybe 15 to 20, depending on how he's hitting that year. So, I mean, yeah, but the fact is you want an experienced catcher, and you got one in Wilson Contreras. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if, in fact, the Cubs do not make him an offer,
right,
and where he might go. I would think St. Louis would be a great landing spot for him. I think the Cardinals should definitely be interested in him if he is available, and make him an offer. You never know. It'd be great. I like Wilson Contreras personally. So.
And also, too, really quick, there's some other ones that I also wrote down as well. Christian Velasquez, Austin Hedges, Mike Zunino, and Sean Murphy. Even though he's he'll get arbitrated this year, more than likely.
Okay, does he get arbitration? Okay, yes. So there you go. He'll stay where he's at. Yeah.
Yes, and also too, I forgot to bring this up. So Nolan Arenado, because so ladies and gentlemen, when Nolan was in Colorado, they gave him a nice hefty contract, and
it was huge.
Traded him.
It was huge.
It was an 8-year deal. When they traded him to St. Louis, they also gave $50 million.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
So Nolan Arenado can actually opt out this year. And
look at that.
Colorado owes St. Louis, I think it was $16 million.
Jeez.
And then Colorado would have to pay him $5 million through 2025 if he opts out. Now,
really? Oh,
yes,
wow.
Because it's $144 million through 2027. Now, if he doesn't opt out, I think the Cardinals have about 84.5 according to Spot Track, and then it's about 54.5 if he opts out, and that's also taken into consideration with Colorado's payments.
See that?
Yeah,
that is just. Is that not okay? But seriously, is that not ridiculous?
That
in every way possible.
How he got a contract like that.
I mean, I get that's why you have agents and all that stuff to negotiate that stuff for you, but the owners have really, 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 to me, and again, I know I'm going to sound like the old fuddy-duddy. Free agency has ruined baseball in a lot of ways with these absorbent salaries that they pay these guys, and the things that these guys go after now, trying to get that kind of money. It's just obscene, man. Like, yeah, I don't understand how things got that inflated. I get paying a guy for what he's worth, but when you're talking about signing guys to 7-year deals for 400, 300 million, whatever, you're just like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Well, like, why is that guy? I don't know. It boggles my mind. But again, that's another subject for another time.
It just really quick before we move on to the next team. What just bothers me is that Colorado has to pay him. I understand they got to pay St. Louis because they gave $50 million. So they got to pay St. Louis $16 million, whatever he decides to do, whether he stays or not. And then they have to pay him an additional $5 million if he leaves. Like, so that means the contract that he's going to opt out of on the next contract, you still got to pay him. So, like,
well, let's look at the Mets who are still paying Bobby Bonilla $1 million every July 1st. But like, that's the kind of stuff that happens in baseball, man.
Then they should have traded him before they gave him the contract.
Well, best laid plans, my friend. Best laid plans. It's just, it's ridiculous. Well, it is ridiculous. And that's why I say, owners, like, what are you thinking? Like, are you, these are knee-jerk reactions to stuff like, all right, we want Nolan to stay. We're going to give him a big contract, but then we're going to trade him.
That's disgusting.
It's terrible. That's why I said it's terrible. It's terrible, dude. It really is. What are you going to do?
I feel so bad for the Rockies.
That's baseball. Well, like, where are the Rockies now? They were in the playoffs a few years back, and now what? Nothing. Colorado down the tubes, my brother.
That's
down the tubes.
Let's painfully go to the next one.
Oh, why is this painful for you?
Buck Showalter.
I forgot you're a Showalter guy, right? That's why this hurts you, Nate. I get it. You're a Buck Showalter guy. The Mets went 101 games, whatever it was.
It's 100.
And you can't beat the Padres. San Diego.
These are legitimate questions. I don't have answers. I'm starving for answers. I'm starving for them because I don't have them. I'm so disgusted because I got to be out there at that game this Saturday. I got to see this. Inquiring minds want to know why. I truly do want to know why.
Well, maybe there is no answer, Nate, but the Padres managed to overcome 100 wins and advance to the next round in the playoffs. Again, it's that matter of this is why you play the game, my friend. Because, of course, on paper, you're going, the Mets should win this series with no problem. It's only 3 games. You only got to win 2. You're coming in there with, arguably one of the best pitchers in baseball. You know what I'm saying? So, and it doesn't happen for you. What can you do, my friend? This is why I love baseball. These are the kind of things, upsets are what I live for, no lie. And this one was great for me because nobody gave the Padres a fighting chance, did they? Really? Everybody figured the Mets will move on. This will be easy. Go on to the next round. There you go. And San Diego said, yeah, I don't think so. I think we're going to come in here and play spoiler. And boy, did they ever. And you know what? And again, the ex-Chicago factor, you got Hugh Darvish over there. My guy Hugh, who's not pitching badly. He's having a decent year, but he's keeping San Diego. This is the thing. When it comes to playoff time, Nate, as much as it's an offensive game, good pitching will still get you far, my friend. That's what you have to remember. That's all I'm going to say about that. Good pitching will get you far. That's all I'm going to say about it. Because we know the offense is there. Everybody's got, guys who hit 400-foot homers. Every team has them. But it's when the pitching comes around and stops that dude from hitting those 400-foot bombs, that's when you win. So, yeah, like I can see just the perplexion on your face. You're sweating a little bit. It looks like I don't know what's going on.
The New York Mets have some decisions to make.
Well,
Starting with Mr. Jacob deGrom.
Yes.
Most likely he will opt out. Don't know. You got to pay Edwin Diaz. He's a look for some pay. Brandon Nemo, Tejon Walker, Carlos Carrasco.
Hey, keep it. Go ahead. Keep naming them. keep it going. That payroll is inflated as it is, my friend. Keep it going. Pay all those guys.
Those are the guys that stand out. Those are going to be the free agents. Dan Vogelback, who I thought was a good pickup for them for the Pirates. It still cracks me up watching that because they had a game where the Mets lineup where they would play the walk-up songs with the songs that I think it was in honor of International Women's Day, something like that.
Okay.
And his walk-up song was Khalees Milkshakes.
Was it really? Oh wow. That's a great song on its own, but I don't know that you should walk up to the plate with that one, sir. Just say it. It's go ahead. I thought you were gonna sing it for us.
No. That's not, I don't say that.
Come on, man. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
As I was saying,
not nice. That's not nice. I was just going to give him a little verse. That's all.
No. But but all the other guys like Darren Ruff, Michael Gibbs, former Oriole, Tyler Naquin, they struggled in their pickups. So I'm really, really disappointed. Billy Epler, Steve Cohen, Steve Cohen kind of made it clear that he's not going to cut the payroll. I think their payroll this year was almost $300 million.
Right. It was high. And that's what I'm saying. You pay, and again, let's be honest. You paid to put this team together for this team to win. That's why you spent all that money, got all these guys, brought them in, and you spent all that money. That's what these high market or these, big market teams do. Look at the Yankees payroll. Look at the Dodgers payroll. Houston's got a big payroll now. they've become prominent in the last 5 to 6 years.
Yep.
The Mets are no exception. Like you said, almost $300 million in payroll.
Yep.
Like, good Lord. And then you don't win and you go, well, what happened? We brought in all the talent. You won 100 games. What happened?
Yeah.
Well, it's all in the execution, my friend. And that's the thing. You still have to play the games. You could.
Yeah.
That's it.
Execution. Yep.
Yeah. It's a lot of times that's what it comes down to. Are you making plays? Are you pitching well? Is the defense there? Are you getting the timely hits? Are you doing this? You're doing that? Like, people could say all they want. And I know, again, I'm one of those old school baseball guys. Fundamentals have been lost in this modern day era of baseball, I feel.
Yep.
And that's the thing to me that can still win you a ball game. A suicide squeeze, blah, 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 things like that. Smart base running, going from first to third on a single, getting a good enough lead to do that. Like, there's fundamentals in baseball that have seemed to go by the wayside that people, because now it's analytics. Everybody's a genius because some guy, because Moneyball, some guy in a room with his computer told you that this is the way you should manage your team, or this is how you should handle this situation or that. Whatever happened to just good old coaching?
Analytics.
Whatever happened to just fund analytics? My patootie, okay? That's what I think about analytics today. Whatever happened to good old feel? Like, just a coach making a decision based on the situation, what he's feeling, not going, hey, buddy, can you hand me the book so I can see what I have to do with this guy who's hitting 240 against my left-handed pitcher? And you shouldn't. Please don't get me started on analytics, because we'll be here all night. I'm just telling you that right now. I don't want to have none of it. I'm not hearing none of it. Call me a fuddy-duddy, an old man. Call me whatever you want. But I don't like analytics, and I don't care.
Look,
say whatever you want to me. I don't care.
I don't like analytics either, but that's another subject for another video.
I know it is. Like I said, I'll shut up now. Go ahead.
As we transition into the divisional round,
sure.
The Houston Astros swept the Seattle Mariners 3-0.
I'm not going to even sit here and act like I didn't know this was coming. Or act like I know this was coming, because I did it.
Okay. Do you want me to comment on this? Because I'll give you one right off the bat.
Go ahead.
This is where analytics bit you in the butt, Scott Service. Why on God's green earth? I know your closer is in the game. You're winning by 2 runs. I understand that he put 2 men on, but there's still 2 outs. And you want to play matchups because analytics tells you that that's what you should do. But you take a guy, if I'm not mistaken, Ramirez, who hit the home run, killed left-handed pitching. So what do you do? Alvarez, I'm sorry. You bring in a guy who's killing left-handed pitching as a general, this season. And you're going to put a guy who's going to throw a 90-mile-an-hour, changeup up there? I don't even know what he threw, because he left it right in the middle of the plate for Alvarez to smack the dog snot out of it. I mean, that thing got out of there on a rope. I mean, you knew it was gone as soon as he swung. You were like, my goodness, that's gone. There's the game right there. So you lose game 1 on probably an analytics call. And it's like, I get it, but he's your closer. That's who you go with in those situations. Yes, I get it. He walked the 2 guys, I believe. But it's still 2 outs, and your closer's in the game. I just, oh my goodness! So, anyways, and I think that cost them a series. Like, they lost the first game, and then Houston wins the second game, kind of with no issue. Then you got that marathon 18-inning game in the third game, where finally, Houston scores 1 run and that's it. Well, yeah, sure, and that's my point, though. See, Seattle this year had good pitching. Bullpen starting, and that's why they were able to pull off what they did. Not a lot of people at the beginning of the year were talking about Seattle winning anything.
Nope.
But, again, they pitched well, got some timely hitting, won some ball games, and look what happened. I look for good things from the Mariners next year. I truly do. Because as far as I know, they're bringing most of these guys back. Like, they're all under contract, and most of these guys will be back. So I look for good things from Seattle. But, yeah. Houston did what they do, though. I mean, whether you like them or not, the cheating scandal notwithstanding all that, it's a talented bunch, man. These guys can play ball. And, as much as, maybe Dusty as their manager, people will say the curse of Dusty. Because remember, Dusty did not win the World Series. That was A.J. Hinch. And now Dusty's in control. Remember that. A.J. Hinch was the manager for that.
Yep.
In Dusty, we trust him, but can Dusty finally win the big one? Because we know he's been there before and it hasn't happened. So is this the year that Dusty Baker finally, and I say finally, Dusty has come back to the championship series? But we'll see what happens. I love Dusty Baker. I met the man, very nice man, but can't win the big one. That's the knock on Dusty. We'll see if these Astros can pull through for him. Finally get him that elusive ring on the finger, baby. We'll see.
And we're going to get to that in a little bit.
Go ahead. I know what you're going to say about this one. Yes, the evil empire. Go ahead.
Defeated the Cleveland Guardians in a 5-game series.
As a Sox fan, I'm extremely happy with this, but go ahead. Even though I'm not a Yankee fan, but the Guardians lost, so that makes me happy.
Josh Naylor.
What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
Reason.
He got confident. That's what it is. He got cocky and thought he would make his little gesture of rocking a baby to sleep. It's like maybe you woke the Yankees up there, pal. What were you doing? What were you thinking?
I'm hurt. But no, the thing really quick. I'm just the Guardians. Excuse me.
You were gonna say it. It's okay.
I was gonna say the Indians.
They used to be called the Indians. They're Guardians now.
They got some things that they need to work on. I think they need another guy alongside Jose Ramirez, Bobby Bradley, and from Franel Reyes.
I like Reyes.
When I first saw Reyes come into the league, I said that's a big dude, and a power hitter. He gave. I'm not sure really quick. I don't know if you remember this guy, Chris Carter. He played for the Astros. Athletics, first baseman, DH.
Okay.
He gave me those vibes as a hitter.
All right.
And this year he just completely fell off. At Reyes, and they didn't figure that out. They're pitching, other than Shane Bieber,
Bieber,
and Corey Kluber. You could probably bring him back again.
No.
Yes, Aaron Seville did have a disappointing Game 5, but he did. I know he did struggle at the beginning of the season, but he did, as the season progressed, particularly down the stretch, he did put out some good baseball.
That was part of the reason they kind of started to drift away from everyone towards the second half of the season. Was what I mean? Yeah. I mean, not the Twins and White Sox kind of fell apart, but Cleveland kept winning, and that's that's what it is.
And I think that's just something they just need to fix. Because I like Zach Plesac, but he's not. He's like your third or fourth guy in the rotation. Let me say it like
sure.
So.
For sure.
I think they need to figure out the first base situation, because they had Gabriel Aries and Owen Miller, and they didn't. The defense wise, it just didn't work.
It didn't work I got you. Yeah.
And I looked at their minor league system. They don't have a good first baseman either. Other than maybe Nolan Jones, which means you'll probably have to move Oscar Gonzalez or Josh Naylor,
or
Jose Ramirez.
Big or here. Well, do you bring in a mid-30s White Sox castaway to a team like this to play first base for you, Mr. Jose Abreu, who it looks like the Sox are going to part ways with? If you're and that would suck if they let him go to the Guardians. But again, the Sox are looking to part ways, and you need a first baseman. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, if I were Cleveland, I'd be looking that direction. Just like you said, with no one in the farm system. Says what I'm saying. It's with no real first baseman in the farm system, and maybe, Jose still got some pop in his bat. I know.
Definitely.
Here's the thing too. He started out early. he was struggling. He was hitting 2-something in May, but by the end of the season, he was up around 300.
Yep.
So he got it together. Jose could still hit. If nothing else, you could spot him first base, DH, whatever you can do. But I just think if Cleveland is really looking to upgrade a little bit in that position, you might still be able to get a couple of good years out of Jose.
I agree with
that. And with some of the other team around you, you never know. You're in the Central Division that has never been great, really. I mean, we've had our moments over the years, but, you still got to deal with the Twins, the Whites, so I don't know. If I'm the Guardians, I look at Jose Abreu maybe to bring in, give him a nice little 2-year deal or something, plant him at first base. Just a thought.
I agree.
Just a thought.
We're going to move on. I owe an
This is
apology
exciting,
to the San
Nate. Come
Diego Padres.
You should be happy with this one, Nate. You should be doing backflips. You should be doing your best Stephen A. impression. This should be phenomenal for you. Come on. The evil Empire Dodgers are not making it to the championship series this year. Isn't that great? Aren't you?
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Oh, Denny Green, I love you. Denny Green, rest in peace. Love Denny Green. former coach at Northwestern. So I watched Denny when he was coaching at Northwestern. And then obviously he went on to the NFL. But Denny Green, you're my boy. You're my boy. Rest in peace. Love
Rest in peace, Dennis Green.
I'm sorry. I digress. Go ahead. You were saying?
I owe an apology to the San Diego Padres. Last year, I wasn't sold on them. And I said in the beginning, I said about maybe a couple months ago, the moves that they made, it gave me the year that they got the Upton brothers, Craig Kimball. They tried to put that little all-star team together and then make the playoffs. And I was like,
they got
Juan Soto. They gave up their farm system. And they got in this far without Fernando Tatis Jr.
I was going to say that. I think that's
now the
important.
question I got a feeling is.
Yes.
Yep.
What's your feeling, Nate? He said, "Yep." No, I mean,
I'm sorry. You went out.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Oh no, I was just to say, I thought you were actually going to make a comment, but yeah, Tatis. With him going out, you thought, man, that's a big piece to lose. But the guys held it together. Kept their composure, as it were. Still played, and I still, they did their thing, and I'm not disappointed. I mean, I love this only because, like I said, I like a good upset. I love the underdog. And I thought, I know, people were not giving San Diego a chance in this series, especially in a 5-game series with the Dodgers. They figured the Padres would probably just, flame out and that was it. But they got the hitting. They got some decent pitching. And now look where they are. They're playing the Phillies for a chance to get to the World Series. So I was happy with this series. I liked what I saw. I even liked what I saw from Darvish. Like I said, you pitched a pretty decent game. He's, watched him pitch a little bit here in Chicago. So to see him go on, I root for guys. But I definitely think this is a great thing for San Diego. Yeah, there's not much to say here. The Dodgers didn't perform as well as they should. And that's one of those things that you just go, again, on paper, they look phenomenal. Won over 100 games. Thought they were going to come in and just beat up on everybody and, just go back to the World Series, and that would be that. But not to be, my friends. And that's just what happened. So, again, there's not much else to say about this. I think as a whole, when you got guys like Justin Turner, Trey Turner, and some of these other big dudes that they have there, it is a disappointing ending to a season like that. When you win all those games, you're the favorite to go back to the series, and it just doesn't happen. So, I mean, not much else you can say about that. Let's pull for San Diego. Let's hope that they pull through. Again, and we'll go from there. I don't know, Big Nate. Not much else I can say about that. Again, just happy that San Diego has managed to pull this off, and I hope that things go well for them the rest of the way.
Sorry about that, Nick. I have had some technical difficulties on my end, but
okay. Go ahead.
Congratulations, San Diego.
Yeah. There you go. Go ahead.
they got that. Los Angeles has some things to do. I I really think you've got some, you got a $16 million option on Justin Turner, Clayton Kershaw, Tyler Anderson, Trey Turner, Andrew Hearn, they're free agents. Cody Bellinger could possibly, because he just disappointed. And we're calling for Dave Roberts' job. Please stop.
I wouldn't go that far, right? I wouldn't.
You won 111
job.
games. You won the
exactly.
championship. What? See, that's why I'm not at LA fans. I'm telling. Oh God, you know what? We're gonna move on.
No problem.
This is just disgusting. The Philadelphia Phillies beat the Atlanta Braves in 4-3-1.
Yes.
What kind of shit is that?
Well, I'll tell you what kind it is, Mr. Tucker. The kind where the offense totally tore apart that Braves pitching. That's what that was. Can you say we hit the ball good, Sammy Sosa? Yes, I hit the ball good, and I hit the home run, the 66 for the year 98. I hit the ball good. That's what happened. The Philadelphia Phillies hit the ball good, in the words of Sammy Sosa. Hey, man, you got to love this. I'm sorry. It's an like I said, it's an offensive era, right? And watching the Phillies just score runs it could be, but watching the Phillies score runs is fun. Even though I'm still a purist, I still like pitching and defense. But I'm not gonna lie, when you see Schwarber hit 450-foot shots into the second deck, it's fun. You root for a team like Philly. You do. They're the underdog. Nobody gave them a shot, and yet here they are. You know, I mean, they're in a series tie with, the Padres are 1-1. So I mean, come on. So it's going to be a good series. It's best of 7. So this may go down to 7. This series may actually go 7, just because the way these two teams are playing and they're going back and forth. So I look for good things from this series. I don't want to be like I have a favorite, because I didn't initially pick any of these teams to be there either. So for me, whoever wins is just a bonus, and I hope they beat whoever comes out of the American League. So Phillies and Padres, I'll be watching with great interest and seeing who moves on from there. The Braves, again, another 100-win team that's disappointed. They didn't perform when they needed to, and now they're sitting at home watching the playoffs like me and Nate. So That's just the way it goes sometimes, and the Braves will see you next year, I guess. Figure it out.
I agree.
Should have kept Freddie Freeman. Just kidding. I know.
Yeah, well, if Max Farid and Spencer Strider were healthy, I think this would have gone to 5 games. I know Max had the he got the flu, and he had an upper respiratory infection, and he just was not 100%. And then Spencer was going with it's already dealing with an injury, and Matt Olson, Michael Harris, all stepped up. They definitely made their mark. You've got Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Acuna Jr. coming off the injury he had the year before.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You got to give them that. The biggest eyesore for the Atlanta Braves was their defense. I think and also too, I noticed, but I mean, even though Michael Harris was their best outfielder, I also noticed that Acuna's arm strength, his range is not the same as it was last year, and that's an area they need to work on. I think they need like a Jock Peterson or someone back, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. Well, again, Atlanta has some decisions to make too, for next year. So we'll see what they decide to do. Maybe. Well, Jock Peterson, where's he at now?
He's with the Giants. He
was playing with the Cubs, but there's the Giants. Okay, I knew he went somewhere, but I didn't remember where he went.
This is disgusting.
There you go, Jock. This is disgusting, Nate says.
Let's move on.
That's funny.
Painfully.
Painfully,
to the World Series, the conference finals. You've got the those Houston Astros versus the New York Yankees, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The Houston Astros will be advancing to the World Series.
Guaranteed. I love it when you pull out the RuPaul clip. That's beautiful. That's a good one. I love that one. I didn't know RuPaul was so into sports. That's phenomenal. Way to go, RuPaul. Anyways, no, I kid.
I know. No, I just think I'm just going to spend a minute on this. I just think that these teams have seen each other before, and
yes,
Houston, I think, is also on a mission too. I think to prove like we even though with the cheating scandal, I think they're trying to prove that we can win. And
sure.
Think of it like Carlos Correa is not there, but you replace it with a Jeremy Pena. Springer left the year before, after that. Like they're still an elite team. So
well, that's the thing. They have been for the last few years, cheating notwithstanding or whatever. But obviously, they're not cheating now for fear of getting caught, I would assume. So I mean, they're just going out there and beating people. So what are you going to do? And again, Dusty is a really good manager. I think I joked earlier about Dusty not winning the big one, but Dusty really is a good manager, and it's just some bad luck that he hasn't won the big one. It just hasn't happened for him. But this really could be Houston's year again. As well as they're playing, they're taking care of the Yankees right now. You've got a situation where whoever they play, whether it's the Phillies or the Padres, they're definitely going to be favored in that series either way. So, yeah, all Houston has to do is, 6 more wins? And the title's theirs, my friend. So, I mean, at this point, initially I'd pick Yankees and Braves in the series.
Yeah.
And it looks like I'm going to be wrong there as of right now. So, but yeah, I mean, Houston's a team to beat right now. Houston's a team to beat right now, my friend. They really are. And I
agree.
I could see them finishing up New York and beating either the Padres or the Phillies for the title. But again, that's why we play the games. Let's see what happens. But yeah, I would say Houston's a favorite. But as you say, Padres and Phillies are tied 1-1. And I think it's going to come down to, can the Padres pitching handle the Phillies offense? Because like I said, the Phillies have been on a tear this postseason. Right. And then the Phillies in the same way, can they handle that the Padres offense, which, again, for me, when you look at some of the firepower that, with Machado, and you had Tatis there, but now Tatis is gone. And you just sit there and go, man, am I that surprised that San Diego was able to put together a run here? Yeah. Like, they weren't a horrible team. They just played in the same division as the Dodgers, who won 100 and, who does that? That's like the one year Seattle won that many games and didn't win anything. They lost to the Yankees. Yep. So it's kind of the same thing. Like, San Diego wasn't horrible by any means. They just happened to run into a buzzsaw that wasn't done. What they finished like 20 games out of first, I think, is something like that. So, yeah, what do you do with that? You just take your lumps, go, okay, we made it to the playoffs. Let's put our head down, move forward, and see what we can do. And now you're playing for a chance to get to the World Series. So, again, as far as favorites, I think, I'll go with Houston. Like I said, I don't see the Yankees coming back from a 2-0 deficit with the team that Houston has. And if I had to pick one, I'm picking the Phillies right now just because of the offense. I got to be honest. So for me right now, I'm going Houston, Philadelphia, and we'll see what happens.
I agree with that.
I think in that arrangement, though, Houston wins the series. So right now, I guess I'm going with Houston winning the whole thing now. But I wouldn't mind a Houston Philadelphia World Series. That's something a little different. So why not?
Yep. Within the last 30 seconds, I'm going to say Houston Astros versus the Philadelphia Phillies. So
there you go.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to end the episode. I will catch you on the flip side. Y'all have a good night. I appreciate you, Nick. Please
Nate, thank you always for having me on. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Please comment, subscribe. Peace.
Okay, have a good one.